The Triangle X Squared Circle book is now live on Kickstarter. With your support, we can make this dream a reality. Grab your copy today. Oh, how you doing, Dan-Dans? My name is Ian. The big day has arrived. 6/1/2025 is here. You know what I'm saying? I tried to class it up a little bit. Now, let's get down to business. Traditionally, this year's History of series would be kicking off on this date. Hell, normally you all would have known what the topic was going to be a long time ago. And while some of you do know what this year's topic is because you keep your eyes open and you're aware of my tricks, I haven't officially confirmed anything. And before I do that, I want to take a minute to do a couple things. I definitely want to walk down the history of memory lane and revisit some of these conversations that we've had over the years. But I also want to take a second to thank you all for allowing me to live my dream over these past however many years it's been. Writing these scripts and creating these videos and putting them out to an audience who actually cares about them and these videos actually mean something to you guys, make no mistake, that is my dream, and you guys allow me to live it. And I will shut up about my dreams now, and we can get down to business. What was first? Do you remember? 2017. The History of SmackDown. This was my first scripted, in-depth retrospective ever. This shaped what the channel would become over the years, and I'm really grateful so many of you have enjoyed it. I haven't seen these videos in years, as I don't really watch my own stuff back after the edit is done, unless I have to, and that's probably for the best. I'm sure there are a million things I would change today. And honestly, that's what's so nice about the Triangle X Squared Circle book, which just went live on Kickstarter today, a project I could really use your support on. I get to write about these games all over again through the lens of my 2025 brain. I cannot wait for you guys to read these. We just have to make sure the project is a success. 2018, the History of Mortal Kombat. Without the History of Mortal Kombat, I would not be able to live this dream I'm living now. And there's the dream thing again. Whoops. Maybe you know the story. I had been working on this series for 6 months. I put out the final part and predicted Mortal Kombat 11 was coming any day now. Those were my exact words. And 3 days later, Mortal Kombat 11 was revealed live on stage. The algorithm picked up my videos, millions of people watched them, and that was like my big break, I guess. I would make a joke about how I haven't had a hit that big since, but I don't want to even mess around. I can't believe how many of you have watched the History of Mortal Kombat. I never thought I would put out anything this big, so I won't even joke. This is incredible to me. Thank you so much. 2019, I went back to wrestling with the History of WCW video games, and this was great for me. I loved going into these because WCW vs. the World was, alongside Mortal Kombat 4, the first PlayStation game I'd ever gotten. My grandma got me WCW NWO Thunder one year for either my birthday or a graduation present or something, and this game, while terrible and awful, I do kind of love it because my grandma gave it to me. I would like to talk about World Championship Wrestling as a whole, the actual company, at some point, but I closed this series with a heartfelt goodbye to my favorite childhood wrestling promotion. And for now, I guess that's good enough, but stay tuned. I changed things up in 2020 with the History of Resident Evil. Survival horror is a far cry from wrestling and fighting, and with the annual History of being my biggest and most important project of the year, this was a risk, and it did not do as well as the others. Hell, I mean, Part 5 was a total flop. And that covered Resident Evil 4. I figured that was a surefire hit, but no sir. And that's the YouTube game, you know? The full movie version really found a large audience, which makes me happy because I think this was better than SmackDown, Mortal Kombat, or WCW video games. By a wide margin, actually. Up to this point, if you asked me, what's the best thing you've ever done? I would have said the History of Resident Evil. Keeping with the, you know what, I don't want to get trapped in the Mortal Kombat and wrestling bubble, 2021 was the history of Halloween. This was another franchise that had been on my to-do list from the very start. And I'm glad it took me, 4 years to get to Halloween? Because I feel like this one unseated the history of Resident Evil for my best one yet. Man, I had a lot to say about Halloween and Michael Myers and Laurie Strode and Dr. Loomis. And this was totally accidental, but in my opinion, I think my constant burials of Halloween 5 across these past, 5 years now, that's gotta be the main recurring joke of this channel, right? The history of God of War was 2022's project, and holy shit did these videos fail. Overall, these numbers are not awful for a weekly video, but for a history of? These were atrocious. This was a total flop. And then the full movie re-release found an audience of almost 500,000 people, making it one of the biggest things I've ever done. How do we explain this? Do you guys have answers? Who the hell doesn't want to hear me talk about God of War for 20 minutes? But they do want to hear me talk about God of War for 4.5 hours. I don't understand. I am proud of this series, but for whatever reason, I haven't really thought about it much since I finished it. I don't know why, but I'm glad so many of you found it over the years, despite its poor initial run. In 2023, I decided to go with the history of UFC video games, and this was so much fun, dude. Sometimes, when I'm covering a movie, I have to watch the movie and take notes not only of what I'm seeing, but of thoughts that I'm having as we go. I immediately start the movie over with the audio commentary on and take notes of the stories told and the information shared from the director or writer. Then I'll scour the internet for old interviews and box office figures and whatnot. The research for movies is a whole nother level. But with the UFC games, come on, sucker, I'm just knocking fools out. I'm telling stories and I'm having a great time. That's not to say that I didn't research for this video. Of course I did. This just wasn't as intensive as Halloween or, say, the history of Friday the 13th was 2024's big deal, and holy hell did this one require a ton of research. I read entire books on Jason Voorhees' big goofy ass. Some of these movies had multiple audio commentaries. One with the writer, one with the director, there were interviews with the cast and crew, producers. It was amazing. An unbelievable wealth of information is out there, if you know where to look for it. Movies are so tricky, man. Somehow I've avoided any real copyright claims, and I say somehow because most of these companies don't respect the laws and rules. I do. I know what fair use is, and I know how it works, but the big corporations like Warner Brothers and WWE, they don't care. They will block something worldwide just because they feel like it. Anyway, I'm really happy with how the history of Friday the 13th turned out, and I hope you are too. And 2024, not for nothing, was also the host of the history of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, making this the first year I'd ever done 2 history ofs at the same time. Another great excuse to play through just an incredible series of games. I really am out here living the dream, And that brings us to today, 6/16/2025, with a brand new history of on the horizon. Now, I've already thanked you all for allowing me to live my dream over the years, and I'm getting tired of saying that. Dream. Dream, dream, dream. How many times am I going to say it? I'm sick of dreams. Maybe it's time we shake things up a bit.
Come to Freddy.